All right, let's go over the game. Let's start with Drake Maye. Kind of review his performance, how you thought he was yesterday.
Fred, hosting through the pain. Much respect from
It's
me
like
for
the
that.
Jordan game. Yep, thank you.
That's it. I came out of the game, Fred, and we have to answer a big question for ESPN.com out of every game. And my big question was, what can Drake Maye do more of to elevate the offense? I felt like they needed more from him in the game. So to your question, my thoughts on his performance, I think there's throws that are higher percentage throws that seem like he's not maybe making, well, not maybe, he's not making those throws. And I think it's making it harder on himself. And I think that's one thing that stands out, and they need more from him.
Okay. And just another big question. Well, he wasn't a big question mark, but a big question mark coming into the season was Will Campbell. How did you feel he held up yesterday?
I didn't think that he was, if we were making a list of the top issues that they had, I wouldn't put him near the top of the list. I was listening to Mike Vrabel on his radio interview this morning, and I think he felt the same way when he was asked that question. He said that between him and Jared Wilson, the fellow rookie on the left side, that they hung in there. Was it perfect? Obviously not. False start penalty late there that made the 4th and 5 go to 4th and 10, and then Vrabel elects to punt when he would have went for it. That's one thing that stands out. Maybe a few blocking miscues, but I didn't think it was that bad, Brett. I didn't think it was that bad from Will Campbell. I thought something definitely that he can build off of, and not that bad.
Okay, defensively, we were talking about the secondary earlier, and there were obviously some issues. Jalen Hawkins got beat early, but came back, got the interception. The play toward the end of the game when Carlton Davis got beat on the 3rd and 20.
Yep.
Just starting there, and I guess we'll work our way forward because I think things got better. How do you think the defense played? And we'll start on the back end there.
Hardy, they gave up 9 plays of 20 yards or more. 9 plays of 20 yards or more. Going to be hard to win games when you do that. I would say I go offense first would be, and Drake would be at the top of my list of areas that led to the result that happened. And that would be the second point, like too many big plays given up. And on that specific play you're mentioning, 3rd and 20, they brought pressure. And I think Carlton Davis, I heard Mike Vrabel say this morning, just probably needs to play off there and don't give up the deep ball more, keep everything in front of you.
Yes.
Rally in front of you and tackle. So that was a miscue.
Ultimately, these two things go hand in hand. I know Hardy wanted to work our way forward here, but the lack of a pass rush with only 4 guys contributed to some of that. There were blown coverages too. I remember Brock Bowers catch and run for a big gain on a slant over the middle, but it just seemed like if Vrabel didn't dial up a blitz, and you saw a lot of that as the game went on, the Patriots weren't getting home, and that contributed to a lot of big plays.
I think that's right on, John. And it's the same old story. You got to sync up the coverage and the rush. And at times, if you're going to send extra rushers, like you mentioned, the Brock Bowers catch and run for 38 yards, they sent 6 rushers. So just 5 back in the secondary. And if you don't get close to Geno Smith, you're in a vulnerable spot right there. So I think that's it. You send 4, well, you might be relying on your coverage to hang in longer because you got more numbers back there. But when you send more rushers on the blitz, and that's Terrell Williams, the defensive coordinator, you're relying on that pressure getting there because no one, even if Christian Gonzalez was playing, can cover that long for some of those longer developing plays.
So how do you fix it?
How do you fix it?
That's not his job, John.
No. I mean, that's a good question. John, let me come back to you on that because that's like an X's and O's thing. And I mean, make more plays. I don't know. I mean, let me come back to you on that so I have a better answer.
Yeah, let him come back to you.
Safe to say, we'll go back to the offense because I mean that's obviously where more of the questions were before the start of the season. Safe to say that we're all looking for a little bit more out of the run game.
Oh my goodness, Hardy, absolutely. They had 60 yards rushing You go back to that's the fewest yards rushing in a Patriots opener since 1996 against the Dolphins. I think some of that is you get behind, in the fourth quarter, you're going to lean more towards the pass. But I want to look more at the play time distribution of the running backs. Ramondre Stevenson, 46 snaps. Treveon Henderson, I think it was 24 or 25. And Antonio Gibson, just 5. I think that's an area to dive into and say, you get the second round pick who's got a lot of speed, probably needs to be on the field more and maybe bring Ramondre's numbers down a little bit.
What do you do? You were talking about getting the rookie out there. I'm wondering why they didn't throw a lot more short passes and screen passes to him. I saw swing passes to get him out there, but considering the Raiders blitzed a ton in the second half, why was the screen game not utilized more with him specifically?
It's a good question, John. I mean, I remember one time they did try it, and maybe it was early in the game, and the Raiders were right on it. And so I think probably the answer to that would be that the defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, probably pretty dialed in that when Henderson's in the game, be alert for the screen. And John, just to go back to the other question, how to fix it on defense, I think getting Christian Gonzalez back would obviously help, right? So better players. So that's one part of it. And then that just came to my mind because I didn't want to leave you hanging on the answer to that.
Well, thank you.
Did this change your kind of the way you think this season's going to go, this loss? I know you weren't overly optimistic. You weren't going 11 wins with the people, but does this change how you feel this season is going in any way?
Fred, so I don't overreact to the first game. I'd use last year as an example. Patriots won that game. We saw what happened. That being said, I will say I expected more yesterday. So I would say maybe confidence slightly shaken. And part of the reason for that is, they talked for a week about the importance of the second half. And Mike Vrabel even structured his practices last week to focus on the second half by putting a break in the practice and then having the players come back as if it was a simulated halftime. And for them to come out and play the way they did in the second half, that does shake the confidence a little bit. But I wouldn't overreact to one game, but probably why I think I would say in 7 to 9 wins. And then our friend Mike Giardi got on me. He said, you can't say 7 to 9 wins. You got to give a number. And I think I settled on 8. As we got to the start.
I can't believe you did that. You had between 7 and 9 to choose, and you chose the one right there in the middle.
And by the way, when Vrabel took that break in the middle of practice, did he practice making halftime adjustments? I mean, did he do his own practice there?
You're great, Hardy. How about come out of halftime, you get a penalty on the kickoff return, so you're already deep, and then we're talking about Will Campbell on the left side, but on the interception that Drake Maye threw, it was actually the right side of the line. Micah Wenu and Morgan Moses, it looked like they struggled a little bit with one stunt there, and Drake got hit. And that turnover, in my view, I don't know if you guys view it the same way, it changed the game. It was the turning point of the game.
All right, and this is just a kind of cosmetic thing that I want to ask you about. This team has been really boring, win or lose, for a while. This game was boring in a way. Do you think that is going to change this season? Say they win 8 games, and that's great, and you're in the hunt. Still you're on that graphic in December, and that's really what you should root for with this season. Is there a way that this gets a little more entertaining?
Yeah, I would invest in that thought, Fred, and the reason why is I think we'll see more Treveon Henderson. He's an exciting player. Kyle Williams, their third-round pick wide receiver, he'll get mixed in there. He's an exciting player. I think Stephon Diggs, I'd like to see him play a little more. They were easing him into the mix. I think he had 29 snaps. I thought every ball that was thrown to him, he caught for the most part. I think he's exciting. So I do think they'll get better, Fred, like Mike Vrabel and this coaching staff. I think they'll get this team playing better, a more exciting brand of football. And one point Vrabel made, there were 25 new players that were wearing the Patriots uniform in this game, and it does take some time to come together.
And how many of those players do you think are difference makers?
Well, should we go through them, Fred? Like how much time?
No. But just
Small
my point is that everyone, went nuts about free agency and how much the talent's improved, and I just think that might have been over, and not because of this game, just in general. I think that might have been overstated a little bit.
Yeah. I think a small handful of difference makers, and clearly the roster still needs an influx of more players, more talent.
Right.
For all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.